Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everybody. I'll call the meeting to order. We have a forum. I will take a motion to approve the agenda in the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda in the minutes. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Rich,
Good morning.
good morning.
Well, let's start with a few things here. I sent you guys an email last week. It was kind of look behind the eight ball there, our new hire. You guys got all that information. We'll get our new hire oriented. After fair. So that part's done. We still got a few people to hire out in maintenance yet. Once I get caught up on project plans and stuff. We'll start setting up interviews for that.
Not to interrupt you, but it
Yes,
seems
sir.
Baker County's looking for maintenance too, or comparative, competitive.
Yeah, I think everybody is. We look at the Engineer Service Bureau for all that stuff. So
All right.
it's gonna be, it's. You know, I'm still, even though we've got Colton upstairs, I'm still looking for somebody else because the workload is just. Getting. Which brings me to another situation where, so we had our pre-con. Friday before last on our paving projects, which is great. I think they're gonna be, the milling companies are maybe coming in this week to mill. Brush, is it this week or whatever, then they're gonna do cold in place recycle, and then they gotta let the pavement set. We're looking at sometime in July when they wanna pave. My initial plan was to. Well, have certified people, but they're all retired now, so. I may need to hire out. Colton actually got, the DOT let Colton go down to Boone this week to get into some asphalt training. The way they have all their classes staged, there's, you gotta take one before the other one's a prerequisite, but because of the situation we're in. Letting him take that first and then take the other class second, which is. Fine, I don't know why they would have a class that you need prerequisite first, but whatever, they're allowing us to take that, so we might have certified people here. By the time the actual project needs to start, but it may need to hire a consultant or a private contractor to come and do some of the DOT testing. Since they're federal aid projects, we need to have all this for certifications we need. Initially, my goal was to have Russ and Al do Worth County and then probably use them for Mitchell County, but I didn't know they were going to retire before the project started. So we're in that situation. So the projects are going to start here soon. And then hopefully by next week, I'll have, what we're going to talk about today is setting a hearing and letting date for the 2 box culvert projects that we're doing. And then next week, we'll probably do that for our 2 paving projects. Now, the timelines are getting pretty late, but we can segue into first to talk about setting the hearing date and letting date for projects for the 2 local box culverts that we're doing. So today on the schedule, we're looking at setting the bid letting date and the public hearing date. Which we're looking at July 10th, I believe, is when we want to set that. And then we'll hold the hearing and award the contract that same day. And then we'll approve the contract. We got to give them a couple weeks to get a contract created and get their insurance and stuff. So we're figuring on approving the contract the 31st of July. Pre-construction shortly thereafter, and hopefully completion by November 30. Now, I don't know, that gets us our money spent if we get it done before November. The biggest thing will be whether or not precasters are in full swing or if they've got room to fit box culvert precasting in. So we'll know more once we get the project let on where that schedule's at. So I guess that's where we're at right now, is to set the hearing and letting date for this project. July 10th. We'll receive the bids July 5th. And so the schedule is, they'll post the plans and specs after today. on the master builders of Iowa League of Cities. They'll put that notice to bidders out and post plans and specs this week through the 21st. And then they'll post the notice of public and hearing in the newspapers between June 26th and July 5th. Receive the bids July 5th. And then present to the board July 10th, hold the public hearing and award the contract the 10th, approve the contract July 31st. Pre-construction hopefully August 3rd, and then begin construction August 2nd, August 7th. Well, those are all dependent on whether or not get in here. So that's the timeline. And so if we want to approve that, I don't know if we have to have a specific, I suppose we need a specific time for the present bids to supervisor. I suppose we'll just do that at
9
9 o'clock.
or like
On the
8
10th.
or 8:45.
On the 10th.
or-
Yeah, we can do 8.
Cause you're first.
So we'll set hold the public hearing and award the contract at 8:45 a.m. right?
Okay.
July 10th.
Motion to set the public hearing date, bid letting date, 8:45, July 10th.
I got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
So I do have, and also with that, we've got an engineer's estimate for the total cost, and they think they might be high, but depending, because of how late in season we are and everything else, we're looking at, for both projects combined, their total project cost is $834,000 for two box culverts, which is higher than what we estimated, but we don't know what prices, I mean, prices are, they're not standard right now anyway. Even if we were bidding this in the spring, we wouldn't really know. So we'll see what the numbers come in at. We'll be able to judge our future projects based off of what we get here. So that being said, I think if we want, I've got the title sheet for the board to sign. You guys want, I don't know how they approve the plans. You know, we've got it here to approve the plans for you to sign on the title sheet. I don't know if that needs to be in the agenda to approve the plans or not, I guess.
Is
Probably.
that a part of the rational service?
Yeah, is that,
No, that's something different. So they want to get signed copies of plans submitted tomorrow already to put on the service thing, so I don't know.
You told
How
me
the
that
agenda read.
You told me to put the other two things on. there.
Yeah, no, and I didn't know what Jeremy had sent you for other things either, so.
And so the hearing date, is that for one of those projects that you have the plans for? or-
Yes, that's for these two box culverts. We haven't approached the PSA yet.
I guess we technically have two local bridge projects on there.
I mean, discussion, possible action, set hearing, then dates for two local bridge projects. What's that?
We should go.
I think, I mean, you're setting the letting.
Setting
dates.
the hearing date.
So
do you want a motion here on the professional service agreement?
we aren't there yet. We'll do this one. I just wanted to make sure we get the title sheets signed for this project.
Is there a motion? Yeah.
We should have.
Yeah, I'll motion to sign the title sheet for the plans for those two bridge projects.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
The next thing we have on the agenda is a professional services agreement for another bridge design. It's on Dogwood north of 390th. It's a bridge project. We've got a couple different scenarios here. We got a bridge project we're gonna do, design and bid and construction, so
Put mine on. Cool. Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not.
so to get this bridge project into because we don't have swap anymore, we're on these longer design cycles now with the DOT. So we want to get this project going so we can get into a February letting for next year. So we've got a couple of different concepts here. For the professional services agreement, the basis compensation. Let's see, scope of services, design, bid and construct. The base service fees are $28,000, and then we're trying to figure out whether we need to do a box culvert or a bridge, but we got to do the first part first, find out hydraulically what we can put in. So the first part is the basic engineering services to do the hydraulic design and everything else to find out what we need. And then once we know whether it's a bridge or a box, then the fees are based off of $16,900 for final design for a box culvert or $25,000 for a bridge. So it's a two-part contract depending on what the hydraulics determine we need to put in there. So that's what we're looking for is $28,600 for basic engineering, the pre-engineering, and then alternate one is $16,900 if it's a box culvert design or $25,400 for a bridge project.
Where's that one?
That's on Dogwood north of 390th. I think that's the hard surface route that I want to try to pave.
Goose Lake? Goose Lake.
Yeah,
390, so it's. Right by the railroad, there's railroad.
Yeah,
track up there
yep,
Too, right?
yep. And I want to pave that soon, so. We get the bridge fixed and we can.
I'd make a motion to sign the professional services agreement between Worth County and WHKS on the bridge project.
Motion in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Give me some missing stuff here.
Yeah. Yep.
Was it?
Good idea.
Save you some time. Yeah, it'd be nice. I don't know, I can't remember what structure is. It's a little small little bridge.
Yeah, an old
Short
one
span.
old bridge.
Yeah. So next week, I'll hope to have another schedule type for our paving projects. After talking to contractors last week about the paving itself and whether it still could be doable to try to get some cold in place recycling in this year, depending on how contractors are working. I don't know, for some reason, I've got it in my head that I don't know, I thought contractors were still pretty busy, but toward late in the season, they might be looking for work. I guess it all depends on the weather is.
They've had like 0 days for.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of rain days.
No, so when you factor in, 10-15% for rain days and you get, so they're.
Yeah.
They could be.
Yeah.
out of the gas or-
So that's the goal anyway, is I had the plans ready. I noticed there was an error in stationing. But it's gotta go through my plan set again and change the stationing on some of the documents. That stuff should be ready for next week. Okay, we can get that ball rolling.
In Wheelerwood Road, south, 105 is on. Looks to be finished.
Yeah, okay, so that one I had in fiscal. So here's what happened. I thought that was it was gonna use federal aid money on that road, so I did an STP application for it. They kicked it back. And the first time this has happened to a county engineer where put it through and it's not a major collector. It's a minor collector, so I can't use federal aid on a major collector. So what I'm gonna do, I gotta go back through programming and it's a few years out yet, so it's probably. Let's see, we're probably fiscal 27 or 28 when it was planned. But I've got another project in there I can swap my funding over for, which I think I might swap. the STP to 105. East.
East.
So we'll have STP money in that, and then maybe I'll probably swap first of all, I'll swap the funding from 105 from Wheelerwood to 105, and then whatever funding. I gotta do some magician work to find out where the funding's at, but I might
Okay.
use federal aid funding 105. I'll have to reevaluate everything again to find out, but for now, it wasn't forecast for, it was like fiscal 27.
Just been some questions
Yeah.
about the bike path,
Making
paving the
Paving the
shoulder.
shoulder.
Possible WCDA grant for that extra cost. I'm just kind of curious, so when I knew it was on a list, I just wasn't sure.
Sure,
a-
yeah,
Leave that down
and
to trail.
Yeah. from all
And when you
sides.
think about, if you think about it, it's always kind of been a thought to use the interchange as a hub, maybe for a bike trail.
Right.
Because of the traffic.
Well, plus the hotels, motels.
Right,
Well-
yep, you've got all that stuff there for a launching point. So,
Mhm. Eventually, there must be a big plan to hook up all the trails in northeast Iowa.
Yeah.
Connection.
yeah, so it's a ways out yet, but. That gives us ample opportunity to plan too.
That drainage deal down there, the McCourt talked about, are they on that?
We're done.
You're done?
Yeah,
Okay,
they-
I've been by there lately.
They went out and handpicked rocks out of the flow line
Made it
a
better.
couple weeks ago, so.
And then we talked about out there at the wastewater and 105, all that debris.
Yep, I think, talked to RC. Before I left for vacation, that. Maybe we gotta haul some of that. Rougher stuff out to the boneyard, but
Okay.
probably bury some other stuff.
Yeah.
Second, that'll be second priority to the other thing. we talked
Yeah,
about.
and actually, I mean. Get see what floors later in the spring will be. ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rich. Anything else?
We did the rock one quotes, did I discuss that?
Look,
So they're
We
all.
haven't, yeah, we took quotes and approved it, so they're all in. Trying to remember when I talked to you guys last about it, so.
They're making a lot of dust last week.
Yeah. And they're moving.
Yep.
So.
Anything else, Rich? Okay. Drainage, I didn't see, was there any drainage? I didn't see any drainage.
No plans.
I guess we need to. Accept amendment number 3 to the reclassification report for DD 49.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the claims?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carries. What do you got there? We have the sheriff's monthly report. Is there a motion to approve the sheriff's monthly report?
So move.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Any place on this one?
Yep. About 5 days.
Liquor license. Stock tank. Oh, both of them are the same.
Same wedding venue.
Okay.
5 days.
Approve the liquor license, both of them.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on it? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, liquor license passed.
It must be caterers. Or sorry, No, they just, they're at that venue.
Oh, and, man,
And,
Linus Creek,
yeah, they don't have their own liquor license.
No,
so,
they
yeah.
always,
I'm guessing it's a caterer.
oh. Maybe it's the same one.
We had one manure management plant, the Luge Farms.
Delete,
Is that?
Really?
delete,
Delete,
the G silent.
right, Jackie? Yeah, okay. Is there a motion to acknowledge?
I'll second.
I have a motion and second, any further discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries.
Now we're getting ready for next year. I'm gonna get it out of the way because I have school next week. So that's the appropriations for fiscal year 24. If
Mm.
everybody, that has to get passed if everybody wants money.
Do I need to read it all, or is it?
So available for people to read on.
I will take a motion to approve resolution 2023-22 for FY 23-24 budget appropriations.
Second,
I have a motion and a second, any further discussion on that? Roll call vote, Smeeby.
Aye.
Stone.
aye.
Lowberg, aye, resolution passes.
So that Rich has money.
The interfund operating.
Is there a second to the interfund operating transfer for FY 23-24 resolution number 2022-23?
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that one? Roll call vote, Smeeby.
Aye.
Stone.
Aye.
Lowberg, aye. Resolution passes. Got another one for me there?
And this is so everybody can get paid.
This is resolution 2023-24 for fiscal year 23-24 salary resolution. Is there a motion to pass that resolution?
I'll motion to approve the salary resolution.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? Speedy, roll call vote. Stone.
Aye.
Lowberg, aye. Resolution passes.
We can start another year now.
What's this one?
That is your ordinance.
Okay.
Not
Not quite 9 yet, so we'll jump down to any board appointments.
I did hear through another council member that Manly did get a person picked, but I just haven't heard. From the mayor, so he was on vacation last week, so I'll get hold of him this week, but they had somebody volunteer, so. I'll get that and we'll do that one next week.
Good. Eminent domain, we just kind of run out of realtors.
I got one, I just,
Oh, you got one?
well, I've got a realtor that lives in the county, but yeah,
Accepted, yes.
so I'll reach out, reach out again, but
Okay,
hate to push, but just because we're out of realtor, I think, so.
Melissa, are you on?
I am. We have a nibble on 2 lots out at the interchange.
Good.
So that's exciting. And then I will be in Cedar Rapids for the rest of the week at a conference after today. So that's about all I have for this week.
Okay. Thank you, Melissa.
You bet.
Yeah, promote. We got lots on sale.
Yep.
EMS continued discussion. Have you had a meeting and you guys down there?
Not yet, that's one thing I gotta talk to Tim about this week. So he kind of was heading up, all the information, try to get something scheduled. So I just met with Manly Fire Department's trustees and they were asking the same question, so we'll get something started down there. But it does sound like Mason City has come up with a price as far as
Yeah.
per call, per service, so. Nothing on paper yet, agreements, I'm sure should be coming, but. What's that, $500 call?
Yep. And
Basically,
the only thing they were
is-
waiting on was whether it's the city limits, that if they don't get outside the city limits, they don't charge it, they turn them around.
Yeah. That's
They hadn't
something-
decided how they were gonna do that last time I talked to them a couple weeks ago, so.
And are we using ARP money?
That's kind of the side for the
So,
first year here, I mean.
Did you get a hold of the people in the
I
western
got a
area?
message out to him, and I just wait for you to get back, actually see what time frame you're looking at. You know, everybody's busy with some, maybe try to set something up down there, staying on town up in here, see if we could utilize that area.
Yeah.
You just looking at the mayors or you want trustees and so.
Mayors and trustees. You know. See all those 3.5 townships on Hamlet.
Yeah, I got a message out to him a couple days ago. Told him I'd wait till you get back and then see what they want, see if we can pick out some dates or up to the 4th of July or something, probably.
And is there gonna be an agreement with Forest City and how you're gonna pay that one too?
No, it'd be through Winnebago County.
Oh, okay.
Winnebago County, being Winnebago County passed it, and their services would be either like now with Fort City or whatever, so the agreement basically with the county. wouldn't it?
Yeah,
And
Is
we
that
haven't-
questionable?
that's questionable. There's no agreement yet.
Right.
I know there's been some. Discussion on how the funds are going to be utilized,
Well, I know there's still wrestling there, so.
because, yeah, it's kind of a whole different ordeal, but. So, yeah, I assume it'll come through there when they come to Forest City and what's one or two,
Yeah.
but.
And then
Yeah.
we'll need a budget amendment, because I don't really exactly know how to do that at the time of budget, so,
Well, if we use ARP money,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, however we pay for it.
right, well. That's. Technically probably the
Only
our best and
source.
only option.
Right now, for Band-Aid,
Yeah, we gotta get through
that's
until,
why we need these, we need to figure out how we're gonna do this down the road. So,
cause. Down there, we're having a discussion of that of an EMS district, which will have to go to a ballot, But that's the only way we're gonna get it done down there, and that's gonna take a little time, so.
If it's rural, can we use some local option sales tax?
I wouldn't see why not.
Because we have money sitting there too.
Opioid money.
Hmm?
Can we use opioid money too?
Yeah. Yeah, only if it's because of drugs.
Right, so send those bills to you, so we can take it on the opioid fund. But yeah, I mean, we just,
Yeah, and then you can,
Yeah, I guess we just gotta. See if agreements are gonna come through and then,
because we're running out of weeks in June.
right,
and both of them coming to me, both Mason City and Winnebago, they're gonna keep coming.
even if we don't have agreements signed by July 1st.
That's the way I took it, or last time I talked to him.
Yeah, I don't foresee them stopping, especially
No,
if the
they're-
discussion's there.
Yep.
It just may. Transpire after July 1st, but
Well, that's another thing we need to discuss. Do we want the county involved with it, or do we want to? If we're gonna use ARP funds.
I mean, it's still all county money, and cities within the county, but yet, they should have been making some plans for this too. I don't know,
Where do you draw the lines?
where do you
Yeah,
go?
and we're gonna have to have just a cap on it.
Absolutely. It can't be an open ended because that would be really tough to put it like that.
yeah, well, that's the thing is, When we do 700 calls at $500, well. Yes, Forest City's a little less than that, but. That, if you figure 500 calls, then you're
Well, yeah,
I think we do
750 call.
put
That's
700
yeah.
calls a year. Yeah, I think that's that in. Give or take, see, down Mason City said they did 600 last year. There's usually 75 to 100 over there.
And will you guys end up dealing with ones that don't end up with transport because we're still gonna be paying for them?
Well, that's the thing,
They actually come and then,
pay for them.
You'll be able to get turned around by the time you get city limit.
Yeah, but they set the city limits and they get up to. They're gonna bill you for it. Even if it's a
Does do you know what the other counties do about that, or they don't have as much of an issue, or?
All the other counties have something.
Yeah.
You know, whether they fund it, you know, like, Mitchell County, that's through their hospital, so that's part of that hospital levy that they pay, same with. Hancock County. So everybody's got something established, we just don't, so it's kind of tough to.
We don't wanna build a house.
No. So that's the thing, is we're just a little different than everybody else. Everybody else has had something established, we just never have, and trying to come up with it now is. Is a little trickier than normal, but. So, I mean. I guess we just gotta talk with those two entities, Mason City and Forest City, Winnebago County, and.
And then we gotta figure out
Get an agreement with them.
and then discuss how you're gonna do the ARP.
Cause is the 500, is that basically their average between, you know, just. If they don't get stopped by the city limits, they want $500 no matter what.
Yep.
So it's kind of the average of the whole thing.
They were saying between 5 and 7, they
Mhm.
decided on
They
5,
decided on 5.
so, and that, yeah. That's the thing, is we can't control that, whether you get transported or not.
Kind of like medical examiner or,
Right.
you know. Or, I mean, there's
So-
so many things, so.
Got people.
Should we come back to this a little bit? Oh, I'm going to recess the regular meeting. And I'll take a motion to open the public hearing.
So move.
Second. I have a motion and a second to open the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. This is on an ordinance number 2023-01, the third reading. And this is a ordinance readopting the existing county code and all amendments thereto. Is there any comments or questions from anybody on this?
Nothing in the chat yet. Somebody has comments, please put it in your chat.
This is the third and final reading.
Reading. Bill, if you read mine.
Yep.
Is there any comments or questions from anybody? Hearing none, I'm going to take a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. I'm going to reconvene the regular meeting. And I will take a motion to approve ordinance number 2023-01.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 2023-01. Roll call vote, Smeedy. Stone.
Aye.
Glover, aye. Motion carries. Now we'll go back to EMS discussion.
Oh,
Good,
Yeah. I'm off the hook for 5 years now.
yeah.
there you go.
But yeah, we just. Like I said, should keep talking with all those entities, try to. Obviously, we'll get something on paper here shortly, but. Make the decision on whether. To use ARP and how to, because otherwise they. Are they gonna wanna sign an agreement? I mean, how are they gonna get paid? For giving those services if we don't do it this way the first year?
And then we need, I guess my attitude is we need to figure out how much ARP money we're gonna use. And then I guess I divide it up. We got the Northern District, we got the Western District, the Southern District. I would divide it up and each group gets that much money. And then as Mason City builds the south end at $500 a crack, where Forest Fit and Winnebago is probably gonna bill us at $350 or 400 like they were. And Northwood's gonna bill us for whatever they wanna do. When the money's gone from those districts, that's the end of it. And then we treat them all the same. Granted, you got,
You have to do per capita or.
well, that's the other thing, granted,
It's got more people and
you know, I don't know what it is.
If you-
Manly's got more,
yeah, if you-
but you don't know,
People on the district.
but you don't know where the calls are gonna be either, so.
Right.
Or you got more.
Right.
you out
You're
there.
You're not spending.
You kind of just gotta guess on the
Oh,
average of calls over prior years, because. The districts. since it's in the 6 townships of Northwood, that's, theirs isn't gonna change much. Manly and Grafton won't change much, and to the west, they won't change much, because even though the situation has changed, the districts haven't changed. As far as the response districts, so those numbers should stay fairly close. It just depends whether you have a busy year or slow.
I think you're more agreeing to cover the situation for the year. So everybody gets their ducks in a row. You're not really choosing who you're giving the money to until you know where the calls are coming from.
This would solve a lot of issues.
It would.
And I know they'd be guessing on their cost, I mean, but if people were paying their bill, I wouldn't mind writing a check. They had 62 years, never written any ambulance. If I was to have to pay property tax, I mean, instead of paying my ambulance tax the rest of my life and you'd never use it. I'd be better off writing a check when I need to call.
And
I
that's kind
agree.
of how Northwood does it. People decide how much money they give and when they want to give it, and it's worked for them so far.
Thanks.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's just, that's just my opinion. I mean, but you have to do something.
I was surprised the one time that when I used it, that I didn't get it.
Right.
I just expected to get it.
At least something.
Yeah,
I'm paid for it.
Right.
It's too bad.
It's, and unfortunately, it's just like an insurance. You can pay insurance your whole life and never use it,
Yeah.
but the one time you do need it, you're glad you paid it for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, whatever.
Keep talking to your legislators.
Yeah, that's the thing too. That can't ever stop.
that's why we need these meetings, because my theory is. It's not the fact that we're using a Band-Aid right now.
Right.
But we need to know what they're gonna do in the future. Because it's gonna be, if it goes to a ballot, like we talked. You're out there 2 years.
Their ARP money won't be there next year
Yep.
unless they don't use it all this year.
Well, yeah.
Time spent, too.
The trustees can up their budgets to the max and hopefully,
Which would work for everybody but Lincoln.
yeah, and we could. It would cut mainly fire department's budget, but if we had to do it for a year or two, we could deal with that. As far as the county trustees budget, so we could deal with that.
But then the cities have to do something
Yeah,
too.
yep. And we, until we got the district established and started actually collecting tax dollars for that, I'm sure we could come up with it down in our area. As far as Manly goes, I don't know about Grafton and, that direction, but. Because that has been discussed, our trustees have said that they would. Work over some money, if that's what it takes to. Keep continued service going until we get this established.
Keep the meetings rolling.
Yeah. I guess we can kind of sit on it till we get some more meetings.
Well,
We just gotta decide fiscal year 24,
Yeah.
or you have to decide.
we need
Use those funds.
about something.
So,
They still have something to go off.
right, so if we do, how? Are they gonna bill the individual departments, and the departments bill in the county, or how would that work easiest?
Well,
You know what I
when
mean?
Carl explained it,
To simplify it is what I'm looking at, what is the easiest route to do that?
when Carl explained it to me,
Well, I would say, promo, but that's probably gonna be straight to.
And then will we know what township or what city or what,
Well,
will they
that's one thing
say
you gotta-
something?
They could give you a township or a town is as far as they could go.
That would be fine.
Because they can't give you much more information. But they can give you a town or a township.
and that we need to know. That would help a lot.
I don't even need an address, I just need to know. how
They
the
can't
township-
give you
Yeah,
that,
you're not gonna get that one.
so they'll just give you, Barton Township, 2 calls. That's all we can tell you. If you need more than that, I'll just deal it out of the sheriff's office.
They Obviously got a lot. of
And then maybe,
frequent flyers in this
maybe you
county.
can verify it.
What's that?
They Obviously got a lot of frequent flyers. I wonder how many repeat calls there are yearly to the same person.
Yours.
And I don't know how to get that,
I don't either.
just education.
It's just frustrating with the cost, that it costs us, costing these people and their times and then they don't do the transport or they don't do the, you know, it's pretty frustrating. It's gotta be frustrating for the workers too.
Especially when they bring the plane or the helicopter up too,
Helicopters.
and they don't take either one of them. That's a lot of money that came up into the county.
Spends 3, 4, 5 times a year.
Helicopter lights
$3,000.
coming though.
Do you-
They don't go training flights every day. That doesn't bother them.
No, it's
That's
actually, yeah, helps with the training too, so. Anyway,
Yeah, they'll be better off if we do go that route to just have the services bill you directly like monthly basis or something and.
Well, the way I understood it was Northwood, they worked out they're working on an agreement, they had a price. And anytime they use Mason City, I guess that bill is going to the Northwood Fire Department. That's the way I understand it, but I haven't had a chance to talk to Blake.
they have some kind of shared,
You're right.
So they're backup. So
They're the
we
backup.
should be paying that too.
well, that's what he's talking about, is if each district that will have eventually will get a portion of these funds and money's out, it's out.
And even when Northwood goes on a call, they're paying a stipend, so we should really,
Absolutely.
we should pay that too.
Well, part of the total will get.
Yeah. So, because I know that Blake had mentioned me with Heartland, he's using Lake Mills, I think, back Heartland.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, if they could give us a township or a town. That would help us a lot. We'd be able to
And I
break
can
that thing
start
down.
tracking.
Yep.
But if Northwood goes on a call, they're billing for it too, and cover that stipend.
Yes,
That they're billing the patient or the patient's insurance.
Mhm.
So that
Right,
should
Oh.
cover their stipend
they're hoping.
Hopefully.
If they do.
if they do a transport. Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
but basically you're looking at 500, 400 or 350, and here a little bit less, so. The
Mm.
calls are,
And we'll want to know transport or non-transport so we can get some better numbers of what's going on in the county.
yeah, because when they explain that to me, and Saragota County is only at 30%, and we're at 40% non-transports. We need to educate people. If you break your finger, you probably don't need an ambulance,
you've been
but
sick,
you might.
been sick for a week, you should have went to the doctor 3 days ago. It's true.
Yeah.
Eat all the time, eat a lot. Been bothering you for a week. Yeah. Leave it around there for discussions. And we can get
Yeah,
that figured out the next couple of weeks if we. See some agreements or something coming or get an idea of what's gonna be in the agreements and we can.
Yeah.
Make our decision.
department head discussions.
Fair week this week, so I'll be in and out. of The office on and on, but up there. We also have sundowner days on Saturday over in Hamlin Town, so that'll take a little bit of my resources. The only other thing I have is I just got contacted by Juvenile Court Services. On June 28th, they're meeting with me, my chief deputy, the county attorney, and possibly Chief Pals. On a new diversion program they're gonna have coming through the juvenile court system. So I'm not sure what that's gonna be, but that might help us. We're trying to divert them away from being held, so.
So it says you're gonna do more to Central Iowa.
So
So we'll find out what they have to say there.
I tag this week, Wednesday and Thursday, and then I'm going on vacation, being in Colorado next week. I will have access to my computer and be checking in email and stuff, so. Joel is back from, across the sea, and he'll be backing me up. Should have good coverage. At ITAG, I'll be talking with some engineers from a company that assists with transitioning to 365, Office 365. We have a number of departments who are interested in that. I'll be discussing that. And trying to come up with plans so this next fiscal year, we'll be starting to migrate departments over to Office 365. So that's, I've been getting have a new storage device that we're going to be working on using for, they call it immutable backups. And so that'll be just another layer of protection for us against like crypto locker, because immutable makes it so that if your stuff gets attacked by a virus, it can't touch it. So we'd have good solid backups regardless of any kind of virus or blocker or anything. So those are some of the keys going on right now, I guess.
I see we got somebody in chat here. Mark Thomason said there will be a kickoff meeting on June 29th at 6:30 PM for the Worth County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan update. Watch for your invitations to be sent out in the next few weeks to planning committee partners, county, cities, school districts, media, etc.
Yeah, can you send an email out last week? That's discussed.
Oh, I was gonna put it on next week. Figured you had enough.
I just didn't know if you wanted to talk about it.
I ain't
Yeah.
gonna talk about it, but
Figure it out, we'll talk next week.
I at least found the plan or the plan, and you guys can review it and see.
2012 or something.
And I don't know if there needs to be updates or anything. I don't know.
If we're doing it, we should probably look at the whole thing and make sure we're.
And there is a layer on Beacon for flood, so I don't know if that is any. And I'm guessing there's lots of maps up with you.
I'll have to look.
We can get on the
And forms maybe.
There's a
Iowa Flood Control Center.
there's a floodplain center.
It's Iowa Flood Control Center, something like that. That's very accurate and very good knowledge on that too. But I'm sure Beacon's probably similar to that.
But that site tells you the lomas and the whatever else that people have submitted to adjust the floodplain elevations, because when they first put them out, they were generally based on contours or whatever, and as people had, I remember when they first brought the new floodplain maps, people that had built according to the old system, and then when the new maps came out, everybody was 5 feet in floodplain. And they're like, no, this ain't right, you know, so.
Yeah, I know some people that have their, so they have a walkout basement going to the Cedar River, and that whole first floor was in the floodplain.
Yeah,
Basically, their kitchen and dining room, their main level was where the floodplain,
Yeah.
right that.
when they built.
Yeah,
the
when they built,
floodplain
it was
a
fine.
different elevation, yeah, and then all of a sudden, what, we need insurance.
So this entire,
And they've never been flooded before, even with
this,
the rains we've had.
yeah, this entire development said, they all went, fought it and got it
They
readjusted.
can, they can,
Because
you
then
can,
all of a sudden their insurance is.
yep,
Mm.
you can
really
pay to
down
have
that
it
floodplain.
readjusted in your location.
We just need a good candidate.
And it's, I mean, it's kind of with the DNR too, isn't it? So we work in conjunction with them.
Yeah, next week.
Next week, yeah, put that on the agenda.
Mm.
Supervisors weekly. I didn't have anything.
I didn't have any.
I did, had workforce development. We had a quick meeting there. We're gonna put another RFP for some of the providers and stuff. That we're happy with the first go around, so now out again, public health on Friday. Went over where we're at budget and the quarterly meeting.
And potholes.
Was that?
And potholes.
And potholes, yes, there's a pothole in the court, or in, over a couple of potholes on the parking lot over there. I don't know if that's something that you could just call that,
Sure.
maybe, yeah.
I actually thought about bringing, when we get the Durapatcher back over here to kind of, the cold patch isn't gonna stay
Okay.
very well, but a Durapatcher will kind of seal them up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably.
It's chip sealing in a trailer, so,
Okay,
but it'll seal it better.
yeah, there's just a couple of them there. One's really bad.
Well, I didn't know what you guys.
Well, and I think.
What do you want to do with the parking lot? 'Cause
We're
we're
gonna-
gonna probably use some kind of a,
Public health is gonna be looked at next.
And is it on their side or is it on Verhouse or?
I would say the potholes kind of in our parking lot where the girls park. And then there's one that's kind of like right on the alleyway. But I mean, if we were to overlay our part, I think for. Do theirs too.
Well, and then
And the city would want to do.
Probably
theirs.
some here that can be touched up.
I think it's something we'll be looking at. It's cracking, you know.
Well,
You can spray it and that's
well,
in the neighborhood again.
well, we should have it back by now, so we'll look at it and see if there's a few spots here we can touch up. There.
And then I also have Upper Cedar, Iowa. And again, the big discussion is on getting a coordinator. And I don't think there's any reason that Upper Cedar should have their own coordinator. I mean, Shell Rock's looking at it. We should be looking to do a joint deal, and probably more than, actually, I think a coordinator can run pretty much all the water.
Well,
Because a lot of this should be going through the soil and water conservation anyway. The programs are there through there anyway. And I know these guys got a real passion for this, so they think they need to look beyond just their local committees.
Well-
Do this.
Upper Cedar. Shell Rock, Winnebago, all go to the Lower Cedar, so those three
Yep. They should
Yeah.
definitely be together.
could easily, I think, be a joint venture or a joint administrator or whatever, because,
Well, otherwise,
yeah.
the grants that they get, and some of that'll go to the funding their job, and it's like. Can we eat up a lot of the grants?
Right.
It's just, to me, it needs to be bigger than what they're doing. So,
Kind of like looking at the whole drainage district.
that too.
It is, it all falls down, and it's, you get to Shell Rock, and that's where they all meet, and then from there south, it's the Lower Cedar, whatever, so.
But anyway, that's. things we're gonna- They don't have any funding, they don't have any ability to do it, so it's an ongoing continued discussion.
We meet again the first part of July, Shell Rock does.
Okay.
And we'll talk.
Good.
Talk a little bit about it, then I guess I'll bring that up.
So that's what I had.
Anything to add to next week's?
I got the June 29th.
No, I will take a motion for June.
Thanks.
A motion is second, I don't favor.
All right.
Opposed, meeting is adjourned.